Well, shall we continue finishing up this little painting? I'm going to put a little more light flowing into the foreground here. Keep this the darkest in this area. Just catching some tops here and there. So I'm putting in a few branches at the end here, and they kind of help to, well, you know, they're a little bit of final detail to add a bit of interest. Also, I have this very solid underbrush here supporting the scene, and these trunks just shoot off the top of the painting. I don't want to break the tops, really, I don't think, with greenery. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna, you know, as you can see, I've added a few little branches here and there to try to help close it in, to break up these shapes that just keep vertically shooting off the top. I think that's helping. And even that one, I'd like to put, you know, a branch broke off there a bunch of years ago, so there's still a bit of a stub there. And a branch stump, I guess you'd call it. Let's see, this little guy is kind of... No, that's okay. I don't know if it needs more of that. You know, I wanted some on the outside here too, because I have these thin, straight branches, you know, a ½ inch from the edge of the panel, with nothing breaking it, running off the panel. I think that helps a little bit. Loosens up the scene a little bit. I'm not sure if I should make this one thicker. Yes, I will. No, I don't want to do this like this, because I'm still, the paint that's behind here, when I went over the background to lighten up the foliage, or to change the colors in the background, if I were to do this, I'd be putting a lot of tension on the tips of the bristles. I would be really applying too much pressure to the paint that's under the paint that I want to lay on. So I'm really keeping my brush almost completely parallel to the painting, so that the bristles lay the painting over, or lay the paint over top of the undercoat, and don't dig into it, and thereby mixing the two. So I have to apply very light pressure. And as you can see, it still happens a little bit. That's okay. There, I think that's maybe a little better thickness for that one. All right. I'm not sure about this branch sticking straight up like that either. I'll have to give that a bit of thought. Anyway, let's put a little bit of, whoops, a little bit of color on these branches. Well, color, gray. Okay. A bit of raw umber and cobalt blue. By far mostly raw umber. I'm going to keep it fairly dark. Or shall I say low value? I suppose I should be using the correct language. tidy up my little spots here. Okay. Holding my breath, of course. I shake enough as it is, so I often hold my breath, as you know. A little higher value here, seeing as this trunk is a little more forward from the others. Okay, I missed one. Not that it's the worst if it is missed. I notice it probably very few viewers of the painting would notice it, and they certainly wouldn't worry about it. Okay. Just tidying up, you know, cleaning up the painting. This is a more rewarding stage of things because you don't have to cover a lot of ground, and it sure changes things. Just tidying up those little bits. You know, as you work through a painting, there are all these things that you say, okay, I'll fix that later. Oh, I'll worry about that later. Oh, I'll touch that up later. And they add up in the back of your mind. So it's kind of nice when you are towards the end or at the end of the painting to be able to go in and clean all those things up. And then it doesn't feel like a bother anymore or a concern. Okay, these three are a group in the foreground. Everything else is pushed back a little bit. So I think what I'd like to do is include this thicker one with the values and colors of this group, because I don't want dark and dark or light and light, because we then have two goalposts. I'll stay away from that if I can. Yeah, I'm going to put a little more, add a little bit of white to that mixture. will go darker as we get towards the bottom of this trunk. Try to keep this one interesting. It's thick enough that it can bear having a little bit of detail on it. Okay, we'll go a little bluer now. Something I love to do first thing in the morning is drink probably more coffee than I should. And I'm feeling it now because as you can see, I mean, I'm not terribly shaky, but certainly shaky enough. That doesn't help when you want to lay in some finer strokes. Okay. All right. Maybe I'm being silly, but I want to reassert the edge of that clump of bush. Actually, my little green blob here too. Okay. All right. I want to think about this one. I'm going to sit back and look at it. But all it needs is this group of trees to be figured out, these three, and a signature, and I'm going to call it done. And I am really liking how it turned out, very much so. If it ends up getting done tonight, then I might show you the finished painting tonight. If not, then Sunday. Actually, I might just show you the whole thing on Sunday. We'll see. Okay, I'm fixating again. Stop. Okay, talk to you in a bit.